Hey everybody, welcome back to Canada's Boxing Channel. Let's talk boxing. Let's talk light heavyweight boxing. Let's talk about one of the most eagerly anticipated fights of the year. And no, we're not talking about Benavidez and Bivol. We're talking about the battle of the two Davids. David Benavidez against David Morrell. A fight that's scheduled to take place Saturday, February the 1st at the T-Mobile Stadium, or Arena rather, in Las Vegas. An excellent fight. This is definitely a clash you don't want to miss. These guys are rated number 3 and number 4 respectively in the division, and certainly in the case of Benavidez, it's thought that he moved up to 175 simply because he couldn't get a fight against Canelo Alvarez at 168. The goal, the ultimate goal, besides winning this fight, will be to get a crack at the winner of Benavidez and Bivol rematch for the undisputed light heavyweight championship of the world. So let's talk about the two fighters, their styles, the bookies' odds, at least where I live, and how I think this fight's going to play out. So, without further ado, let's start off with the A side here, Benavidez. Benavidez, he's 28 years old, born and raised in the US, fights under the moniker the Mexican Monster. He's obviously incredibly proud, as he should be, of his Mexican heritage. He's got a record of 29-0, and 24 of those come by way of knockout. So clearly an excellent fighter with an impeccable record. Roughly, 82% knockout ratio. So he's definitely somebody who can put his opponents to sleep. His style is commonly thought of as a pressure fighter, a very good counter-puncher. And instead of really having that sort of one-punch knockout power, he essentially just breaks down his opponents. He's got excellent combination punching ability, and he's definitely, I think, going to give Morrell all he can handle on the night. So, let's talk about Morrell. Morrell, born and raised in Cuba, fights out of Minnesota, again in his athletic peak. He's 27 years old. He's got a record of 11-0 with 9 by way of knockout. So again, silly rough math, roughly, 80? About the same, 82% or so. He's got excellent footwork. He's a southpaw. And interestingly, he's got the longer reach, even though he's a slightly shorter man. Going from memory here, Benavidez is 6'3" with 74.5-inch reach, and Morrell is 6'1" with 78.5-inch reach. And this is where I think Morrell's strength really could lie here. I think the winner of this fight is going to be the person who approaches this fight with a better game plan and sticks to the game plan. In Morrell's case, the key to victory, I think, is to work from distance, use that extra reach, use this exceptional footwork, and not get lured into this stand and fight, which he could easily do. He has a tendency to somehow stand and fight, which against a guy like Benavidez, if he gives into that sort of machismo that I'm just going to duke it out with you, that might be his undoing. I think if he sticks to a game plan, he could get the better of Benavidez. People are talking, of course, about the apparent disparity in their professional records. It looks like a much more experienced man against a less experienced man. I don't put too much on that because of Morrell's outstanding amateur experience. I think he had 135 fights as an amateur, of which he won 130. So he's certainly got that amateur pedigree. The betting odds, at least where I am, would highly favor Benavidez. I think he's going off at 1.53, where Morrell's going off at 2.60. I think those odds are too wide. And while Benavidez, I think, is favored to win, I'm going to put my money on Morrell simply because of the odds. I think Morrell is, the bookies are overlooking Morrell a little bit here. And like I say, unless he gives into that sort of desire to stand and fight, if he works to a game plan, keeps his distance, keeps moving, uses his excellent footwork, I think he could win. So I'm going to put my money on Morrell. No doubt my bookie is already wringing his hands. Ooh, you know, yet more money from Canada's Boxing Channel. But it's going to be a great fight. Like I say, it's held, 11 days time? And it's one of those fights that I wouldn't be surprised if one or both of the fighters hit the canvas, and maybe more than once. My brain, like I say, tells me Benavidez, but there's something that Morrell, so like I say, I'm putting my money on Morrell. It'll be interesting to see, and I think it'll be a great fight. Now, before I leave to move even more snow, it snowed heavily overnight, I must give a shout out to a Facebook friend of mine, Eugene Lowery in the States, who has an excellent podcast called the Ring Walk Boxing Podcast. Please take a look. He's got lots of videos up. So, thank you very much. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit like. Please subscribe. Please comment. I really enjoy reading comments and responding to comments. It's why I do this. It's a really good way to interact with people who've got shared interests. So thank you very much. And wherever you are in the world, have a fabulous day. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.